Hi, everybody. This is Tom, the Culture Chap. How are you? So, today I want to talk to you about George Bernard Shaw's The Philanderer. It's an excellent show. Now, I did make a video before this that a very loud leaf blower interrupted, and I realized when I looked at it with the noise problems that I was just blah 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 way too much. This will be a short video. The Philanderer is great. You should read it. It's an excellent read. If you read it knowing that this is Shaw's comedy, often described in the UK as wickedly witty, that's good. And it's not like the other plays you've seen, like Major Barbara. It's not that. It's a melodrama. And if you read it and enjoy it, and in your mind think how you would do it, here's the problem with the people that have done it and have been criticized. The ones that have made it modern, the ones that have taken it too seriously, the ones that haven't leaned into the time period, if you read it with comedy in mind and the time period, say you choose to do it in 1900, which would be appropriate, that's when he wrote it for, its views on feminism, marriage, and all the rest of the topics that it covers are contained in that bubble of, Victorians and Edwardians being that sort of strange ilk that they are. And you can see that it might be as funny as Importance of Being Earnest or any of those other plays that we all do all the time. Philanderer isn't done that often anymore, which is a tragedy, and I think it should be. Please read it. Please read it with comedy in mind. Please read it with expert actors that can really do melodrama, not in the typical way. What is melodrama to you? What does it mean? How can it be more than just what our preconceived notions of melodrama are? What is happening with Grace? What is happening with Julia? Is this much more of a woman's play than we think? Probably so. But it's a lot about a lot of topics. Now, I did see a description in all the various reviews, which were wildly different from each other, where they referred to the page, the club's page, as the narrator. And I thought, what is that? And I searched for a script that included what he did as the narrator. Maybe it was updated, maybe it was changed. Remember, it's Shaw. You don't have to pay for it. It's in the public domain. That's good. We don't have to pay the playwrights when we don't have to for these old plays, really old plays. What did they do with him? Now, I couldn't find a script that talked about what they did with him, and I couldn't really find a review that talked about this particular production. But what if, this is too long to get into, in the case, especially with Japanese theater, there are often characters on the side. They're usually silent, they're usually eating or commenting or being afraid, and that's a whole ball of wax we shouldn't get into now because there's a lot to it. But what if the narrator was on our side as an audience and making little comments? You don't have to worry about the writing. You can put in what you need, okay? Maybe he's like, oh, Julia, again, oh. And doing all these things and making little comments as we go. Interesting. Not too much, just enough. Just enough to remind us what time period we're in, how silly they're being. We can see how silly they're being, but just the phrase like, it was a simpler time, it was a worse time. These actually make a difference with these older plays that offend a lot of people. I don't think it's that offensive, but it depends on how you do it. We need to do it as a melodrama where we realize the ridiculousness of these notions and all these characters in the format they are. And broaden your mind when reading The Philanderer. It can be excellent, really, really well done. It gets annoying in bits where they keep talking about what is a womanly woman, what is a manly man, and why don't people stay in their lane. The narrator, the page, might help with this. Lots of eye rolling. I don't know. Be experimental. Don't go too far. Don't drive off the road with your source material, but find a way to make it palatable and, yes, perhaps have a disapproving narrator who has more of a modern sensibility. You never know. The page is a great part. I've seen the page done a few different ways. One even had a song with a ukulele, which was hilarious. And he was just incredible comic relief during some of these really weird attitude sessions. Okay, The Philanderer. I'm going to put a link in the description of where you can read it. It is wickedly witty. You will enjoy it. Read it with an open mind. Read it with some historical background in mind. Think about where you're going to place it. And it might work for you. We like free. We like free. All right, this is just one more in a series of plays I'm going to recommend and musicals that will just get bums on seats and people will want to come. With The Philanderer, though, and saying George Bernard Shaw, you may have to beef up your advertising to say, this is his comedy. This is a melodrama comedy. Really beef that up in your social media and your advertising so they don't just think about all his other plays and come expecting those, okay? You can't have someone who's a fan of Major Barbara to come to The Philanderer and expect that kind of stuff. Do you see what I mean? And some people will expect that, okay? Shakespeare has all the press about comedies, histories, tragedies, dramas. Bernard Shaw does not. People forget, okay? Especially in different countries. We're a little more used to it in the United States of America because we have Canada right there above us with the Shaw Festival. So we hear a lot more about it because they're our close neighbors. But if you're in South America, if you're in the Netherlands, if you're in Liechtenstein, Greece, you may not connect the variety that came out of Shaw's writing in his career. So advertise it correctly. All right, The Philanderer. It's a great one. It could really help you sell lots of tickets, okay? And amuse your patrons. All right, that's all for now. Please subscribe, and we'll talk again. Bye.